counter payments amid worsening cash crunch. And later on the show, we'll take a look on how the general election will be fought and won in Borno and Ogun State on the pundit segment of the program. I'll be hanging out with Babajide Kolade Otitoju and Adewale Adeuye. So if you're ready, let the hangout start now. Let's begin with insecurity in the southeast, which remains a growing concern in the zone. Lawyers and judges in Imo State, under the aegis of the Nigerian Bar Association, NBA, commenced a 3-day boycott of judicial activities to demonstrate their displeasure over the murder of the presiding magistrate of the customary court in Uguta local government area, Nemeka Boma. The magistrate was shot dead while holding court session on the 2nd of February by gunmen. Today, Choma Ugboma is a colleague in the news agency of Nigeria and the political correspondent for that agency. She called me that particular day to tell me that, look, shot her older brother after coming out from the courts, point blank range. And I saw the picture, gory pictures, and I thought, what is the Southeast turning into?
It's a real matter for concern. That judges cannot sit in the temple of justice and deliver justice without the fear of being killed. There's so much insecurity in the Southeast, and the unknown gunmen have targeted Anambra and Imo State. So many people have been killed, innocent people. Sometimes people get wasted, and you can't even put your finger on the reason for the killings. So, but it's a new law to have a judge killed during a court session. And that's why these lawyers are saying, look, enough is enough. Too many people have been killed in Imo State and other states of the Southeast, and that if security cannot be guaranteed, then it makes no sense to be going to court. They want a perimeter fence around court premises, because some of those court premises, especially the lower courts, they don't have any form of security. So government shouldn't be able to just ride on motorbikes and go and kill a judge, in his court. It's really frightening, and this is a reminder to the armed forces that they still have a lot of work to do, especially in the Southeast, and we know they can do it. The governor is trying his best in terms of providing the equipment, because I was in Imo, I saw a lot of armored personnel carriers and other armored vehicles that the governor has procured. But in spite of that, there's still a lot of work to be done.
This would send a very wrong signal. It's 12 days to that election. Very wrong signal to, would-be prospective voters across the Southeast. And one very funny character, Simon Ekpa, I don't know, I saw his broadcast telling people that throughout the election time that they will be sit at home. I said, he's seated in Finland. I don't know what this character intends to achieve.
I think entering a courtroom and shooting a judge is a national tragedy. It's not just something that people in Southeast should be worried about. All of us should be worried. Not just the Nigerian Bar Association, the local chapter, but the National NBA. And in fact, the Judicial Council, all of us should be concerned, because if armed men can enter the temple of justice and then shoot a judge and just kill him like that, I think that savage courage is frightening. It's a threat to democracy. It's a threat to the rule of law. It's a threat to all of us because the judiciary is the last hope of the common man. So if there is no security for them, what then is the fate of the ordinary man on the street? Well, for the man that is issuing statements all the way from Finland, I think he's not here, so he doesn't understand the objective realities in Nigeria. And I think we have had counter statements from IPOB saying that it does not support, what Simon Ekpa is saying. So I believe it's just a fringe element trying to capitalize on the situation in Nigeria, because stopping election, which has drawn millions of crowds and all that, I don't see how that drives home your point. So because are you now saying that democracy is no longer in vogue, or you have another alternative, to democracy? So I don't think his position is a popular trend. I believe that the people in the Southeast are ready for this election. In spite of all the threats of the bullying, I believe the election will go on. And what we can only ask is that the security agencies should rise up. They should live up to the public expectations, and they should map out areas of significant interest. And Southeast is one of them, to ensure that those areas are well policed, so that people can go out to express their democratic will.
This even will bring fear to even the hard work workers, youth corpers. If you're to be a parent and you're asking your child to supervise election anywhere in the East, especially in those volatile areas, this brings a lot of concern.
Yes, people are really worried about the turn of events in the Southeast. I would have expected that by now security will have improved, because the governors of the Southeast came up with a Buhari, but we've not really seen any significant progress made by Buhari to rein in the miscreants who are taking people's lives in that part of the country. There are 2 out of our 5 most dominant parties. We have 2 candidates from the Southeast, because the ABGA candidate is also from the Southeast. Remember, ABGA is the 2nd oldest party in the country. Their candidate is from the Southeast, and we have Peter Obi, who is also a prominent candidate now, doing well.
From the Labour Party.
Across the country in terms of the energy that he has put into the campaign and all that. So why should somebody just come out to say, no, there will be sit at home on the day of election? He also even instituted, if I can use that word, he instituted even curfews. He did not just stop us. You can say, okay, sit at home, this is an act of civil disobedience. But what do you call curfew? It's not your place to impose curfew.
I don't know the capacity.
Just behave like an illiterate.
Somebody that has access to the data.
It's not in your place to impose curfew. You are not government. It is government that imposes curfew. Government working with the security agencies can say, okay, we impose curfew. But if a non-state actor can sit somewhere in front of his camera and start saying, okay, in this state, no good state, there will be curfew, this place there will be curfew, that place there will be curfew. It's unheard of. I've never had any non-state actor come up with an idea of curfew. You are not government, for God's sake. So I think that even the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, they need to identify some of these people sitting outside our country
to incite
and inciting our people to violence, to bloodletting.
I'm telling you.
There ought to be a way to deal with the situation.
Ahmed is calling us from Owerri. Oh, lost that call. Because it's becoming you know, because this individual was said to have taken over the group at a point in time. At a point in time, they said they have expelled him. But one thing or the other, we know that he might have his own adherents, people that he can influence, gun-carrying people.
Yeah, because we've seen a mapper who is supposed to be the ideologue of the IPOP in the absence of the founder of the group. We've heard him say, no, we will only have sit at home on the days when they bring Nnamdi Kanu to court. But these other people completely go against that. And they didn't start this thing. It's IPOP that started it. Now IPOP has lost control because cultists and other people have taken over. And the cruel thing is they take, when they kidnap people, they take ransom from them and still go ahead to kill them. Like the chairman, local government that was killed the other day, they took ransom, run into millions of naira, and they still beheaded him.
That's the manner in which they carry out, you know.
Look at the soldier couple that they killed. So I have serious concerns for the prosperity of the Southeast. Because with people relocating businesses and all that, it doesn't bode well at all. And in fact, the peace and tranquility of the Southeast is something that we all should be concerned about. It's a joy today. Who knows who it could be tomorrow? It could even be a journalist. It could be anyone visiting the state.
Our condolences to Choma Gboma of the news agency of Nigeria. Now, one of the best ways to tackle insecurity is to ensure that offenders don't go unpunished. The Ogun State Command of the Nigerian Police has arrested the suspect involved in the killing of a couple, Kehinde and Bukola Fatinoye, on the 1st of January in Abeokuta, the state capital. The killers also murdered their only surviving son, Oreoluwa Fatinoye, who was thrown into a river alongside a family friend. The command's public relations officer, Abimbola Oyeyemi, confirmed 3 persons involved in the killing, including the prime suspects who had earlier escaped from police custody, Lekon Adekombi, have all been arrested by the police. This is a good development, and that investigation, the beginning of this year, this was a sad story that we actually contend with. They went for their watch night service. By the time they came back, they were assassinated, and their house was set ablaze. And we felt that, look, it was quite discouraging when we were told that the prime suspects escaped.
Yes, you know, and a lot of us felt really bad, angry with the police that the guy was allowed to escape. But it's good news that we have now that they've all been rounded up and they are cooling their heels in a police detention facility. There is no reason in the world for what the guy did. And the callous manner in which he got these people killed. People still jubilating about the fact that they had seen a new year. They were just coming from crossover service when this boy and his friends attacked them and burnt them inside their house, took their son away, you know, to then throw him into the river. So the boy's bloated body was found later. The couple was unrecognizable, already burnt beyond recognition, you know. And at the end of the day, what was his grudge? That they didn't increase his salary. If somebody gave you a job, he has given you a means to put food on your table. People have their issues. If they are unable to increase your salary at some point, look for another job. It doesn't mean you should take their life. That's not the only place where you can work. I mean, I don't know when we talk about these drugs that people take, because there's no way a rational human being will go to the extent
without the influence of any of this,
without having taken, even his friends too, they will all have ingested these terrible substances. That's why a lot of our people underrate the essence of NDLA and the work that General Marwa is doing. If we are able to stop people's access to these illicit drugs, there's no way that crime rate will not come down. Even Boko Haram, when they get hold of them, and for some time they've not been able to take all these their drugs, you now see a level of sobriety that you couldn't have imagined. You'll be very calm. At that point, they have returned from being an animal to being a human being again. You now see some level of sanity. You know, at that point, they will be looking like the rest of us because the drug has been taken away. There was a boy who murdered his father, a retired lieutenant commander. I don't know if you saw the pictures.
I remember that story.
He cut the father into bits. The man just retired from the Navy. I don't know, maybe he asked for some money from the man's retirement benefit. It was not given. But for a boy to go to that extent, it also suggests that illicit drug must have been ingested. People can't just do some of these things, you know, out of sheer hatred. No, the drug use is involved.
At that moment.
I told you what General Marwa told me when I interviewed him, that there is a big man in Nigeria who can only go to sleep when he's sure that his son is already deep in sleep. Because it's like trouble waiting to happen at any time, that the boy is ready to take his life. So it's when it is fast asleep that the man can then feel comfortable to go to sleep. It's terrible.
Well, if you look at the trend, and our young men just go to any pub now from 17, 18, it's like it's a way of life already. And they've even indoctrinated little girls into this illicit act. And by the time they are high, they don't know what they're doing.
In the past, smoking hemp was a very strange thing in most communities. Maybe you only say one or two people. Or these days,
okay, well, let's quickly just pay this bill. When we return, we'll just continue. We'll be right back after this breather.
My name is Kashim Shetima. I'm the APC Vice Presidential candidate. Here we have 1,776 orphans, vulnerable orphan girls from northern Borno. All of them victims of Boko Haram, or housed and educated, getting the best that the nation has on offer. Look at this edifice. It's about one of the best schools in the nation. And this has been replicated along the length and breadth of Borno and further sustained by Governor Babagana Umara Sulu. Get us into office. We promise you such edifices will be replicated across the length and breadth of this nation. Vote wisely, vote Bola Tinubu for the presidency of Nigeria come February 25th.
Welcome back. It's 12 days to the 2023 general election, and it's Journalist Hangout on Sunday. Wally, before we went on that break, we're talking about...
In the past, smoking hemp was seen as anti-community behavior, anti-social behavior. But now it's more or less like a social status, Everywhere you go on the streets, even primary schools, secondary schools, there are instances where drugs have been associated with, students, pupils, very young people. And sometimes you imagine, what kind of society are we building when people start taking drugs from the age of 12, from the age of 13, from the age of 14. So I think this is not something we need to leave for NDLA alone. The education ministry, our schools, they need to work together with the law enforcement agencies because it's becoming so rampant. Look at the excuse that he gave, that he didn't increase his salary, and then he demanded they should buy him Okada. So his employer didn't buy him an Okada. When they were being employed, was there an agreement? Even people that are working in banks, when they request for loan, it takes a long time before they get that kind of loan. Or increase
some people after some time, they will start having
Look at how long we have been
entitlements.
fighting for minimum wage, you know, before we were able to get 30,000. So, you know, people should also, it's unfortunate that this couple, you know, there's nothing they could have done to him that warranted killing them, taking the life of their child, and then burning down the corpses.
If you remember,
So, this is
with the boy that they took to the river, the second one was lucky to
escape. So what kind of, you know, the human heart is desperately wicked. And what my advice is that when you have anybody working with you, either as domestic staff, you have to be on alert. Immediately you see any signal, wash out the eyes, whether he smokes, wash out the kind of friends he keeps, wash out whether he's in court, wash out his statements, you know, violent statements, violent rhetorics. I had somebody who used to drive me. For the first time, the first month, we went to this hotel, you know, Radisson. For the first time, he took me there. When we came out, he said, Oga, you have to carry me along. Go. I said, what? He said, I need to carry me along, that all these things that I'm doing, I need to also, he wants to be involved. I said, what's your education? You Togolese, you have only class 3. How do you expect me? I just took that statement and I knew that I would be in trouble.
That was a red flag for you.
Yes, so in the next 1 month, I had to do away with him. So we need to watch out. We need to do background check. You need to find the kind of relation between your driver, your domestic, and your family, your children. Immediately you notice anything that is abnormal, you have to dispense with them. If not, they can take your life at any moment, at the slightest provocation.
I have a caller. Thank you for joining us.
Yeah, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
This is Emma, your friend.
Oh,
Wajide, how are you?
I'm fine.
It's been a long time.
Yes.
Yes.
Well, I'm taking you back to the Buhari discussion anyway. It's so sad. So sad. You know, if a few things I wanted to say, it seems Babajide took it up. The international community said they want the success of the election. They are backing us with all kinds of things, said the United Nations. Why are you deceiving yourselves? You have already mentioned the source where our problems are coming from. We are protecting such individuals. What happened to Rwanda? Did you hear somebody shot in Rwanda, if not radio? And people had few things, and a whole generation was wiped off. The same investigation is going on. A group of stupid and irresponsible youths have been deceived by few elements outside the shores of this nation. You all know where they live. And you're telling us you're foreign, whatever, United Nations, America, whatever. You can't help us, arrest them, so that the people that will see that the people that are frightening them has been arrested. Come here tomorrow. Tomorrow is Monday. So you won't see a single fly outside in a way. And you're preparing for election. You think that Imo State is only over a capital city? Can you vote in Olu? Can you vote in Okigwe? Can you vote in anywhere outskirts of Owerri? Will INEC be able to send anybody there, even if you are going to distribute AP's personnel? How many of them will you distribute? 100? Election is 13 days' time, and nobody's talking about it. And somebody is busy warning that 2 weeks with time nobody will come outside. And they are not reasoning. Biafra is coming. Biafra is coming next 2 weeks, from what we are told. What is the region of Biafra? Geographical location. Nobody knows. Who is the president of Biafra? We don't know. Who is the assistant? Nobody knows. And a group of idiots have stopped doing 419 and OBT. They are now using this as the new OBT. And people are contributing money to them. If the federal government is not complicit to this, why can't those people be arrested? Why can't they be brought to book?
Thank you, Manuel. Manuel he has a way of dropping this bombshell.
Yes,
he's in the way. It's just...
and it's very painful.
Very painful.
If you are a resident there and these boys just impose prison term on everybody.
I'm telling you.
You know?
So on Monday,
go out.
So INEC cannot even move logistics on Monday.
Security men don't even come out. You won't see policemen on the streets. Are they not supposed to be the law enforcement? So it's a terrible thing. It's a terrible thing.
Okay, back to our topic, Jide. So when you now look at the influence of drugs and how these guys behave, you begin to see this strange, even house help. These people, you know, the way they've been. We're hearing stories of very, very gruesome murder of their bosses and everything, and it's time to be very, very careful.
Yes, even with the story that Wale told us, we had to be on the lookout for signs that our domestic helps have been relating with some negative people. So once we see those signs, the best thing is to let them go. It's better to dispense with them rather than be sorry.
Some will go and even connive to have you kidnapped. And
Yes.
call for ransom.
That is the thing.
Investigation will get to them.
That is the thing. I remember the former governor of Bayelsa State, Dixon. His mother was kidnapped, and it was one of his domestic staff that made it happen. That was why he didn't waste time when he became governor, and he said, okay, for kidnapping is death sentence. So these things happen.
Okay. It is less than 2 weeks to the conduct of the 2023 general election, and the main opposition, People's Democratic Party, PDP, is still immersed in crisis. In another twist to this, the former governor of Enugu State, Chimaroke Nnamani, has rejected the expulsion meted out on him by the PDP. Nnamani, through his lawyer, Olusegun Jolawo, in a letter addressed to the National Working Committee, NWC, says the body has no powers to suspend or expel him from the party. He said the Yocha Ayu-led NWC did not follow due process and strict compliance with the party's constitution and therefore lacked the powers to suspend or expel him. Wale, the former governor of Enugu State, courageous, I like his style and everything, but it seems that he overplayed his hand here, as in, you cannot, for whatever it is worth, maybe they call it anti-party activity. Yeah. He's an ardent follower of Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Yeah. He's somebody that he has been fighting online, tooth and nail. A lot of people would have said it should have been better if he just moved to the All Progressive Congress than being within the PDP. A senator.
I think there is usually cause and effect. I don't think it just grew up one night to begin to love Ashwaju. I think there are a lot of problems in the PDP that a lot of them feel they can no longer cope. And when they now see an opportunity they have been waiting for, they quickly, the former governor of Enugu State is an influential person. He's not contesting for any election. So I think it is Atiku that has a lot to lose if such a person is not with you. I felt, irrespective of how his actions might have provoked the PDP, expulsion at this time, I don't think that resolves the problem. Because this man, a former governor in Enugu State, and then and even the expulsion, he was not given the opportunity to defend himself, which is against the constitution of the party itself. So this, if we want to expel him, there should be procedures for you to follow. In APC, there are people that are doing the same thing. But the APC decided to, just be very careful not to just expel them, because by the time you expel, you make reconciliation more difficult to achieve. You hardened those that you have expelled, and you will make it difficult for them to see the reason why they need to come back to you. So I think this thing should have been handled with caution. By expelling him now, you are giving, the only option you are giving him is to go and work hard for Ashiwaju, more so that expulsion was not constitutional. It was done by a few people, and I think that he would like to prove to you that it's relevant when the next election comes. And we are going to see how his influence will be felt in the primary, in the presidential election, that we are going to see in Enugu State.
Julie, it's Nnamani in the mix here. Somebody, a senator from the Southeast, a former governor, and, standing his ground from day one, Bola Tinubu declared.
Yes, his argument is that it makes no sense for power to shift from north to north. There are many people who take this seriously. Are you and others and Atiku, because of their greed for power, may not have seen the need to respect our diversity and take steps that will not worsen disunity in the country. ABC Nwosu was a member of the PDP Board of Trustees. He left the party for this same reason. And it is in the constitution of your party that power shall be rotated between the regions. Ordinarily, the moment Atiku emerged as the presidential candidate, Ayu should have thrown in the towel. But Ayu had been out of political relevance for so long, and he must have felt, this is my chance.
Green die.
So to convince him that, look, you must sacrifice for the party was impossible. And this is why we have this crisis in which at least 5 governors of the party are working across purposes with their party. But Nnamani is saying, look, you didn't follow the procedure. And as far as it's concerned, the constitution of the party, section 59 of the party, says that only the NEC can decide on its matter and not the NWC. Let me quote that section. Notwithstanding any other provision of the Constitution relating to discipline, no executive committee at any level except the National Executive Council shall entertain any question of discipline as may relate or concern a member of the NEC, president, vice president, governors, deputy governors, ministers, ambassadors, special advisors, or member of any of the legislative houses. The key words, member, any member of the legislative houses is a member of a legislative house. So this portion of the constitution of the party covers him. That is the neck of the party that can discipline him in the manner that the NWC, the disciplinary committee of the party, has recommended. As far as the party is concerned, section 58 and 59, 1G of the PDP constitution permits them to take the action that they have taken. But Nnamani has quoted section 59 of the constitution saying that it should have been the neck to expel him or suspend him from the party. Now, the other issue is the issue of the Electoral Act. The question is, what does the PDP want to achieve by this? You have expelled people who have the ticket of your party to contest elective positions. Do you want to replace them? The window for replacing candidates has closed. The expulsion of a candidate is not listed among the conditions precedent for replacing candidates.
Yes.
You can only replace candidates if the candidate on his own says, I'm not running anymore, or the candidate dies. That is what the Electoral Act says. And the framers of the Electoral Act did not want a situation in which parties can be changing their candidates, at will. So now what do they intend to do with that? Are you going to just leave those positions like that? Because the Constitution also says that nobody shall run for election except sponsored by a political party. We have not reached that point where people can contest without...
It's a complex situation. Let me take you to Kano. Do you know that as we speak today, Shekarau is still the candidate of NNPP, our next list for that senatorial district, despite the fact that he has said, I'm no longer in this party, I'm back to PDP.
And if he wants to quit, he will write officially to the the INEC to say, I'm not interested in this contest anymore. Is the one who will write. They don't want, the framers of the law do not want a situation in which somebody who has duly won the primary election or who had become candidate will just easily be brushed aside by powerful people in party. So the law is saying that it is that candidate who can say, oh, at this point, I'm not interested anymore. So if you're interested, you write officially so you are not interested.
Okay, we take this other break. When we come back, we'll talk more.
My name is Kashim Shetima. I'm an agricultural economist by training, a banker by profession, and now a public servant by calling. I was the governor of Borno State for 8 years. In the heat of the Boko Haram, we set up an agricultural transformation committee. We crisscrossed the world and invested in the whole agricultural value chain. Lagos is the smallest state in Nigeria in terms of landmass, 3,577 square kilometers. But the largest rice mill in Africa and the third largest in the world is located in Imota in Lagos. That is the power of ideas. Bola Tinubu is an idea whose time has come. Let us vote for Bola Tinubu to be the president of Nigeria come 25th of February. God bless Nigeria.
Never miss.
All right, journalist Hangout on Sunday, and we're counting now to the 2023 election. Wale, hopefully, when you look at this situation, the implication at the end of the day, how does it affect what will happen in the next 12 days? The National Assembly election.
Well, it's going to lead to a lot of legal fireworks. Because if you expect some candidates who are already listed as official candidates of the political party, they could be challenged even when they win the election. And I think there's a moral burden on the voters. Why should I vote for somebody who has been expelled? So I think it's going to complicate the fortunes of the candidates that are involved. And that's why I think that those who took those decisions did not take the interest of the party, into consideration. They foreclosed the possibility of future reconciliations. They have put a seal to it. So I think, what we are now seeing is lack of internal democratic principles. Because if there is internal democracy, when you want to expel somebody, you have to weigh all the options, especially people that are not even, that have been listed as your official candidates with INEC. So I don't know why some decision will be taken without looking at the consequences.
Do you know the likes of Larry Olayinka, the former aide of Ayo Fayoshetu, was involved, and I know he's a candidate of the House of Representatives in Ado Central.
Okay, Messi,
yes,
South, in the Central. Yeah, Central.
Yes, a good number of them, including Fayoshe's son, have been expelled.
His son?
Yes. Then Ajit Jola Latif Oladimeji from Central, Lady Olayinka from Central, Fayose Oluwajomiloju from Central, Akrele Oluyinka, Ekiti North, and Leola Denike Jennifer, Ekiti South, And of course, they added Chris Ogbu from Imo State to the mix. Which honestly is the courts that can decide what will happen at the end of the day, because if the suspension also didn't follow due process, it will be deemed that the expulsion will be deemed as a nullity. So, and if it's a nullity, it means that they remain party members. So we've seen people suspended who went to court, and the court
rescinded.
Yes, we've seen that. You have to follow your own rules and regulations. If you don't follow your rules, then the court will step in and say, no, you are wrong.
How this will affect their fortune in 2 weeks' time? That's my own perspective. That a political party, they are pushed to the limit to take all this decision, and it's difficult to like suspend the main people involved, like the likes of the Yisan Wike and co.
Well, Yisan Wike has quickly moved to sue the party. So at this stage, they cannot do anything to him because he's moved quickly to stop the party from suspending or expelling him. You know, and you can be sure that they can't do that at this stage. But this conflict will hurt the PDP so much. You look at a state like Benue, where Obi is doing quite well now. It's all because the governor appears to be moving in his direction. And you can't discountenance powerful people in a party, whether they are governors or not. You'll be shocked at what will happen in the election. So any party that cannot resolve its differences before an election will pay dearly for it.
Okay. Moving on now. Ahead of the 2023 elections, experts warn of the chances of political violence happening if supporters are not called to order. We see a glimpse of that in Lagos when some hoodlums were alleged to have attacked supporters of the presidential candidates of the Labour Party, Peter Obi, during a rally on Saturday. The attackers destroyed several buses and other vehicles, leaving many wounded and property worth millions of naira destroyed. Obi called on security agencies to protect the fundamental human rights of citizens and encourage Nigerians to shun violence. Wale, this is not good for our election. This is not the right signal. And everybody is free anywhere in the country to campaign. And what we saw yesterday, I saw the pictures of vehicles that were, stoned, and some people that they had their clothes because they were wearing the Labour Party emblem. They had their clothes turned.
I think this is a very unfortunate development. We should allow the democratic space to flourish. When we are talking about democracy, it means that opinions should be, it's a marketplace of ideas. People should have the right to express their opinions on any issue. And they don't think resorting to violence, will help anyone. However, I think the police needs to do a thorough investigation. Why I'm saying this is that this is not just Lagos. It's also happening in other states. In Yobe State, even within the party, supporters of Lawan were said to be the one responsible for throwing stones at the state governor when he wanted to speak. And in some other parts of the country, even in, I think Ife in January, some supporters of APC were also attacked, allegedly by members of PDP. So it's not just a new trend. I think, first of all, we need to caution the media, the way they report some of these issues. What happened yesterday in Lagos was not an ethnic conflict. Labour Party is not a Yoruba party, neither is APC. You have the two ethnic groups in all the political parties. So what happened was a clash within two political parties. Yet, the police needs to do a thorough investigation. There have been some instances that parties will instigate violence and then blame it on others. So the issue of propaganda is also there. I'm not talking about Lagos now, but in other parts of the country, people do it. Members of the same party, they will create chaos and then try to blame it on the opposition. But I think what happened yesterday, we expect the police to dig deep, because Lagos has always been a state where there is plurality of ideas, over the past 100 years. The ideas contend here. And I think that is the strength of Lagos, which makes it to be a center of excellence when you are talking about democratic politics and when you are talking about, sustainable economic development. So anybody who wants to campaign in Lagos, either for Labour Party or APC, should be allowed to, at the end of the day, on voting day, people will decide who is their candidate. So I think we should condemn violence in whatever form. At the same time, police should do thorough investigation so that those that are responsible will be identified, and brought to book.
What's your take on this?
I agree absolutely that we can't continue like this. And Sarah, for example, says more than 4,000 cases of violent attacks have happened between January 1, 2022 and February 3. What leads to this is intolerance and the kind of rhetorics that politicians are coming up with. We've seen politicians in their videos demanding that political opponents should be attacked. And when you are telling your supporters to go and attack people, you can be sure that they will carry out such attacks. In the north, it is also rampant. People go to rallies with big clubs because they are expecting that they could be attacked. You see, if you see some of the campaigns from the northwest, for example, you see very big clubs, held aloft by party supporters because they don't want to be caught unawares. They know that the possibility of being attacked is there. So this shouldn't be happening. Election is not a life and death affair. There's no reason for us to attack anyone. And people have the right to belong to parties of their choice. My concern is the fact that across the country, this thing is happening. In some places, you can't even go out publicly. In the East, for example, they are going after politicians, they are killing politicians. So we don't want this election to be signposted by violence. And all the parties need to talk to their supporters. All the leaders of the party need to talk to their supporters. Attacking people is not the way to go. Let the elections come. Let's see who will win the election.
Democracy.
Yes. Not beating up people, stabbing people, all in the name of intolerance. And the kind of songs that they sing about even opposition elements. Look at those guys the other day who composed a song deriding Ashiwaju. Anybody that is properly bred knows that you are not supposed to ridicule elderly people to the point of even composing a song that hand they shake, leg they shake. It's absolute rubbish. It's only ill-bred people who compose songs to mock people who are older than them.
We know their identity.
We know who they are, but at least people should not show idiosyncrasies that portray that they were not well brought up. I mean, it shouldn't be happening. You can't mock elderly people in the way we are seeing them do through videos, through songs that they are composing, and these sort of things also push people to violence.
Agree.
Yes.
So we'll take this break. When we come back, we'll talk more.
My name is Kashim Shetima. I'm the APC Vice Presidential candidate. According to Conperry, a global consulting firm, by 2030, there will be a global talent deficit of 85 million. Because of our youthful population, our geographic location, and our proficiency in English, Nigeria stands a unique chance of becoming the global talent factory. The building behind us is the Secretariat for the Implementation of the Startup Act. It's the Digital Innovation and Entrepreneurship Center. Of the 7 unicorns in Africa, 5 are in Nigeria, all in Lagos. It wasn't a coincidence, neither was it an accident. It wasn't magic. It is called leadership. It is the Tinubu effect. Vote wisely, vote Bola Tinubu for the president of Nigeria. God bless.
Welcome back. It's campaign season and promises are flying around. The presidential candidate of the People's Democratic Party, PDP, Atiku Abubakar, has apologized to the government and the people of Benue State over the killings of innocent citizens of the state by herdsmen in the past 7 years. The former vice president, who stated this during his campaign to the state, vowed to ensure that peace returns to the ravaged communities of the state if elected as the president of the country. Jude? it hasn't been too chummy between Vice President Atiku Abubakar and Governor Tom. And by extension, the rhetorics that have been coming out from these states for some time. Now, Atiku is not apologizing. He needs their votes.
He needs it. And the governor stayed away from his campaign.
Despite the fact, the same party.
The same party. The chairman was begging the governor to return to the folds to support Atiku. You know, everywhere you go, you promises that the issues raised are going to be addressed. But you and I know that he has no plan to address those issues. He's more concerned about retaining his chairmanship. So whether Governor Tom will listen is a question whose answer is blowing in the wind. But one of the painful realities of the present era is how headsmen, criminal headsmen, have turned a lot of Benue people into destitutes. There are no less than 12 IDP camps in Benue State. 8 of them are official. But there are others that are not even official IDP camps, but people are there. There are at least 2 million IDPs in Benue because they've sacked so many communities, even up to Makurdi North. Chase people away from their ancestral homeland. You take over their land, you kill people, you burn their houses. So they have no other choice but to succumb to life of destitution. Nobody wants to be a destitute in this country at a time when we are not fully at war. When I say fully at war, I agree that part of what we are going through, to an extent, looks like warfare, where people are fired at, where people's crops are destroyed, where people's homes are set ablaze, and they can't come back. Some have lost their communities forever. You go to Plateau State, there are many communities that have been taken over, and the people aren't going back to those communities. Nobody wants to see this. Atiku has promised that in 2001, he got the Fulani and the thieves to sign a peace deal. And that this time around, if he becomes president, he will come back and sign another peace deal, and that he wants to see peace return to Benue State. That is what he said. But the question is, what is the point in signing peace deals that after a while you see people resort to violence, killing one another again? What is going on in Benue? A lot of our people don't know. I see people simply trivializing the agony of the governor. People think that, oh, this whole thing is just, because Otom does not want to pay salary. They do not go, they've not gone to Benue to see IDP camps, see the multitude in IDP camps. It's such a big problem for people who are peasant farmers to lose their farmlands.
The memory.
And that they can't even, the other day, one of the aides of the governor was talking about many people who are born in the IDP camps. It's such a huge number. Those people, those families never intended to be living in IDP camps. Well, a man who is married to his wife, anytime duty calls, he does what by the social contract, he does what he's supposed to do to his wife.
That's jobless.
Not thinking about where they find themselves. Yes. So I'm saying that let people think of the number of IDPs in Benue State and stop this idea of simply trivializing a governor's constant complaint about the fact that his people are being killed. To limit the argument simply to, oh, it's because he can't pay salary is very cruel. You need to go to Benue State and see how many people are in IDP camps. If the population is 7.5 million Ayo, and 2 million are IDPs, that should tell you the extent of the problem. And we are not supposed to be trivializing these things.
I think Atiku Abubakar is because he needs their votes, is getting this kind of commitment. And I don't think the people of Benue will trust him.
Well, I think the great religions of the world, preach forgiveness. For him to have sought forgiveness is a way to admit that some wrongs were committed. However, there are some forgiveness that you seek that people will begin to doubt whether it is born out of your conviction. I think there is a general feeling that he has not done enough. He holds a honorary title in TV land, Atiku. And people feel that when these killings were going on, that he should have, and he's a statesman, he's well-respected former vice president, that he didn't do enough.
Didn't visit the place.
The Labour Party president aspirant was there by a prayer candidate, Labour, Peter Obi. Wike was there, he gave them a lot of money. A lot of people, even from APC, were there, visited the camp. For these years, people are being killed, and you are from Adamawa, a neighboring state. It's not just about promising that you are going to do this and all. What did you do these past years? We are talking about almost 2 million people in refugee camps, about a third of the population of that state.
I think we have another caller. Thank you for joining us, Lizzie.
Good day.
Okay.
He talked a lot on all the issues raised.
Okay.
The PDP issue is very funny because for you to be suspending highly placed candidates and aspirants at this time is very unfortunate because you need all the votes. All votes matters. And these are senators, former governors who have capacity, who are followers, and they play a lot in the politics of the state. So for the PDP chairman, instead of thinking of how not to be the Jonah in the ship, he doesn't want to remove himself out of the quagmire, but he really wants to be removing others. It's so sad. This is a party that prides itself very high. And to look at what it has cost the party. It has cost the party 5 governors across the country, from the southwest, Sheibaki is there, from the south, which is there, from the north central, the Benue governors there, and the eastern governors are there. And look at now, they have gone to Enugu to go and pick out pockets, go to Ekiti. Everywhere they are fighting. It's really infighting, and it's so sad. And these are 13 days to the election. You need to be very coherent and consistent. So moving forward to the issue of these people going to Benue to look for all these things, these are things that would have been done long before now. The killings, the number of persons that have died in these states because of this insecurity are immeasurable. So coming to election period, people going to pay courtesy call, paying visits, trying to pacify the citizens, it has to be sincere. In Nigeria, we should begin to look at sincerity of purpose. What should be in the heart of your mind? Whether you are doing it sincerely. Because actually...
Thank you, Izzy. Yeah. Thank you, Izzy, for making that point. That it's,
so, people will believe, rightly so, that I think it's just plain lip service, to the atrocities that have been committed against the people of the Benue State. And I think I commend that the governor of Benue State for being conscientious. He decided to stand with his people. And coming from the same party with you, and all this year you've done nothing, practically nothing. Even this campaign, did he visit the IDP camp? He didn't. So I don't think nobody will take him serious. He should just forget about Benue State. If I'm from Benue State, I won't vote for him.
We've not started,
empathy is very important, and the timing is also very important. You know, Benue was one of the worst affected states when this flooding happened,
Yes.
And Obi went there. They saw him in a canoe, People must know that at that time he was the first to go there. So he did it for a reason. Even if you say, Obi was pretending, he had the heart to go and see those people and feel their pain. I'm saying how many people have gone to those IDP camps. Because there is a big IDP problem in Benue. I've been there, I've been to the camp, I know what I'm talking about. And it is real. Even the governor's local government, Guma, hundreds of people have fled Guma. You can't farm in peace. There are very few local governments in Benue that are not affected by these killings. Very few local governments. That is the truth. And no one knows when it will stop. Farmers and herdsmen can cohabit in peace. They can cohabit, but it is not, there is no reason to kill one another. You want to till your farm and reap bountifully from your farm. You have your cattle. You also want to graze, cattle, find the right pasture for your cattle. It doesn't mean you should kill people. This is the point. There is a problem. You must feel for those people. You must feel for people who have been forced to leave their homes for no fault of theirs because of these killings. Even right up to the border with Ebonyi, those killings are going on. Those killings are going on. When they killed people the other day, the governor of Ebonyi, he went to that border community and burst into tears. Whatever will make an adult and a VIP to cry in public, you know that that pain is severe to that person. I remember when Governor Otong went to a particular, in fact, they went to kill people, even in an IDP camp. I'm sure you remember. Yeah. In an IDP camp, they went to kill people.
The governor was nearly killed.
The governor was close. He was close to breaking down. Because what else do you want from people? They fled their homes for you. They are in IDP camps, and you still went to kill them inside their temporary habitation. This is how bad this is. It's not just, this is not just simply a matter of, because he can't pay salary, that every one time he wants to draw attention to himself, he talks about, is it not real that they are killing people? Now, has Atiku not now seen the problem and said, look, I want to solve this problem. When you vote for me, I'm going to do my best to restore Benue to its glory and ensure that agriculture is promoted in Benue State. How can agriculture not suffer when people, probably the most fertile state in our country, is going through this kind of routine killing of innocent people? I mean, it has to stop.
All right. Moving on now. 2 days after the extension of the Naira swap deadline lapsed, Nigerians continue to use old Naira notes to transact businesses. Banks are still crowded by Nigerians as both old and new notes are scarce. Kaduna, Kogi, and Zamfara states had in an ex parte motion filed on the 3rd of February prayed the Apex Court to halt the CBN Naira redesign policy. The governors of Kano and Ondo have also filed cases against the federal government at the Apex Court. Jide, my own example, on Friday, I went to Airport Hotel. So I got to the reception. I needed a bottle of water, and I paid with the old notes. It was 250 naira, and I paid with the old note. And the woman there told me that the management of that hotel had stopped them from that day, stop collecting that one. And some supermarkets around, we have this conflict. The situation is very, some people are saying that we'll wait till Wednesday when the Supreme Court will adjudicate fully on this. But I know that in the CBN Act is also a crime when you don't accept that legal tender.
Yes, legal. But some banks have also refused to take old notes from people, believing that the CBN, the CBN's directive is superior to the order of the Supreme Court. There are so many responsible people just doing what they like in our country without caring about what the ordinary man is going through. Why would a bank, having been told or acutely aware that the Apex Court told the CBN to stay action on a matter,
to maintain the status quo,
you still chose to obey what the CBN, the directive of the CBN. So to what end is this nonsense? To what end? Our nation is governed by laws. Our nation is governed by laws. And the CBN itself is a product of the law. Because the CBN is a product of the law, the CBN governor cannot be above the law. So if the Apex Court says stay action, the banks in our country ought to respect that. Whatever it is, whatever was the decision earlier made by the CBN, the decision of the Apex Court supersedes that. Maybe some of them were reading the one opinion. Yes, that somebody. Some of these people are not even in our country. They do not feel the pain of our people. But they will sit down and write, oh, that is immaterial. Supreme Court judgment, immaterial in our country.
Even the Attorney General has said that they are going to comply.
Because he has no choice.
He has no choice.
He has no choice. He is the chief law officer of our country, and he knows what it is. If he does anything to the contrary, they can take his son away from him. We've seen an Attorney General of our country lose his sonship in this same country. Because you will leave that position now. Malami will leave that position very soon.
5 months.
People can count the days now. He will leave, but he will return to his first love as a lawyer.
And he could be the
And he must subject himself. He is responsible to the regulators of the profession that he has found himself. So he knows too that he has to weigh his actions. So I was not surprised when it came out. Why would people expect that an Attorney General will come out and say no, that we are not obeying the Supreme Court?
That's anarchy.
There are some Nigerians who are even pushing that Buhari should come up with executive order. I said, what's going on? What kind of people are we dealing with here? You are talking about pains that people are going through, and you are trying to nudge the president, push the president to take actions that will destroy his own legacy. I mean, this is what it is. Now, more and more states are suing. We've seen Niger. Niger said, look, reverse this decision. Ondo State is saying it is an affront on our fundamental rights for you to say, no, we cannot spend, we can't withdraw more than this and that. And in the suit, the state government is saying there are more than 3 million people in Ondo State, but less than 500,000 have bank accounts. And that the pain. Now, those two court cases filed by Ondo and Niger, they are focused on the pains that our people are going through. They are saying, look, these pains have to go on, have to end. The people are going through a lot. The economy in their states is taking a beating as a result of this. So it's not even, it's not similar to what Kano and others, because Kano, the governor is saying that Mr. President has not got the power to unilaterally direct the CBN governor to take the steps that he has taken, that he ought to have first conferred with the National Economic Council and the Federal Executive Council. So that's the main kernel of the case filed by Kano. But I'm saying that these two other, in fact, the Ondo suit, they are asking for extension, that the CBN should be directed to extend. But Ekiti state is focusing on the pains inflicted on the people and the taking away of their rights to withdraw money as much as they would love to withdraw. So the state is saying that there is a law against money laundering already. Does this one not conflict with the law against money laundering? And that if the court can establish that the directive from the CBN contradicts the law against money laundering, then the policy should be set aside.
Chidi is calling us from Kafanchan. That's Kaduna State. Hello, Chiri.
Good afternoon, Ayode.
Yes, go ahead.
Good afternoon, my good friend BKO.
Good afternoon.
I want to greet everybody in the studio this afternoon.
Thank you, Chiri.
Thank you.
My simple contribution has to do with about Nigeria's fiscal policy, which the Supreme Court has given a ruling over. It is my vision and expectation that Nigerians across board will have to obey and with the ruling of the Supreme Court concerning the fiscal policy. The CBN, as you have rightly said, sir, is a part of the law and therefore should be subjected to the rule of law. Then the human beings, that is ourselves, that are using this money we are talking about should as well obey the decision of the Supreme Court as far as this money is concerned. If you go across the hinterlands and all over the places, a lot of people are rejecting the old Naira notes, which is against what the law has said. Thank you very much. I want you to encourage Nigerians.
Thank you, the governor of Zamfara has even ordered the arrest of anybody found not rejecting the old currency.
Because how would you want to make a policy that apparently wants to check it 24 hours, 36 hours, oh, this thing, we failed, it's not working, or it did not work the way we wanted it, because all this story of we don't have the capacity to print enough Naira, that I started reading later, and I said, so why the deadline?
Well, I think the CBN didn't do enough research before coming up with this policy. And I think from the fillers we are seeing now, the reasons given by the CBN to fight corruption, electoral malpractices, security, those reasons have fallen like a pack of cards. When people spoke about corruption, I said, look, the CBN governor, when the APC was selling forms for 100 million naira, he bought it. He said rice growers raise the money. If you are somebody that is conscious about fiscal policy, should you bring the CBN to that kind of level? The CBN did not issue a single statement. And at that time, we saw a lot of new cars said to be bought for this campaign at a time that people cannot afford forex, manufacturers could not get forex to buy. Then people printed vehicles being imported from abroad. So what kind of CBN governor are you? You said elections. Are you saying that during elections, parties don't need money? I go for elections at home. I need money. I want to go home with, stay with my friends. I need to fuel my car. INEC has faulted that most of their ad hoc workers, they need to give them cash. And CBN admitted. So you didn't take that into consideration when you came out with this policy.
Even the armed forces.
Even the armed forces, they only need cash. Although they said it has about 149 ministries and agencies with thousands of people that they depend on cash. And then you are talking about security. The same people that are kidnapping people, we are seeing them with new notes. What is the business of somebody who kidnaps where we are going to get the money? You're only imposing extra responsibility on the victims of kidnapping. It's not the business of these people when they kidnap you, whether you get the money or not. They will just tell you, go and bring 1 million. It's not left for you, and you are going to raise the money.
Maybe they collected dollars from train passengers.
So I think all these ones are just cover-ups. There is a conscious plan, in my own reading, to bring CBN to electoral politics. And I think it is not fair. It's not going to, because sometimes when you come out with certain policies, you are not conscious of the consequences. Last week, I bought something from someone. I was deputed. He was not deputed. But on self-recognition, he said, okay, I should not worry. I should just go, anytime I have money, I should come and pay back. Then I should start going back to my bank. For how long? And many people are doing transfers. The transfers are not going. People are traveling on highways. They want to buy fuel. Transfers are not going. They don't have cash. You have brought, in fact, unimaginable mystery on the human population. And I really wonder if people of conscience should talk to the CBN that you need to think of the majority of the people.
You should talk to the president.
To the president too, that they should do the right thing. People are sovereign. People have money, they cannot collect the money.
Yes.
Jide, and it seems we like to abuse things. In fact that, for that fact that we've established that CBN. We want CBN to be autonomous from the Ministry of Finance so that they can work effectively. Now it's as if we've built a kind of behemoth that we cannot control again. I think the National Assembly should be thinking of looking at this act again.
Yes,
because
if they know what they are doing.
The CBN governor like a Superman.
No, he's even a CBN governor who thinks that it's only the president that is accountable to. That is not accountable to Nigerians. So if he wants to take action now, he will first go to Daura to meet the president. Even that is a negation of the autonomy.
Yeah.
Kowtowing the president, going to meet the president, it should not be what a CBN governor should be doing. But a CBN governor must be able to implement his policies competently in a manner that will not impose so much misery. Look at what we are talking about. Nigerians rushed to put their money in the banks. He was happy to announce in Daura that we now have 2.7 trillion. You now have 2.7 trillion. You mopped up the money. And you knew in your heart, that you do not have capacity. You knew in your heart that you do not have capacity, but because you do not respect Nigerians, you then decided, okay, I think Governor El-Rufai said he actually printed currency worth 300 billion. Some have told me it's actually 400 billion. Now, 400 billion
doesn't make it
compared to 2.7 trillion
that you withdrew from the country. This mathematics.
Now those people who have their money in the banks, they cannot withdraw. You first said that they should not even give people money to tell you that the people in the CBN, that they are completely lost, completely oblivious of the reality on ground. You said that they should only distribute new notes through the ATMs. When you said that, you said they must not pay people across the counter new notes. Now, that is assuming that we have enough ATM galleries for everyone in our country. Now, ATM, how many ATM galleries do we have in Nigeria? Just about 20,000 ATM galleries in the whole country. Now, from the beginning, your main module of sharing this money was wrongly thought out, wrongly digested. You made the mistake from the first day. Later on, you now said, okay, now give people not more than 20,000 across the counter. That is the second leg of our story. Banks are refusing to pay people 20,000. Some will pay. You know, when you first come, they can give you 10,000. Then the more people come in, they start giving people 1 naira, 1,000, 2,000.
That's to survive. When we are
they will
not
tell you that
work.
there are other people who are waiting. Imagine Theophilus, our own staff here, was given 1,000. It's not fiction.
When we are
He
not
collected
at war.
1,000. You know, how can a CBN governor subject people to all this? Because no one is saying the policy is bad.
Yes, but you see people that stand with Emefiele. I stand with Emefiele and
they don't even know what they're talking about. You do not care about people.
See people on the
so
queue.
No, you see, Nigerians, some people, just because they want to be seen on this side, they mask their pain. A lot of the people you see on social media, they are living a lie. They are living a lie. That's not their true lives. Some of them, they portray themselves as moral giants, but they're actually moral midgets. If you know what they do, you know that these are not people that you should even correlate with. Now, you don't even understand these issues. I've heard someone say, maybe they did it in India. Oh, did you ask what happened in India in 2016 when they did it? Because it should be part of your education. You want to tell Nigerians that they did it in India. Why can't we do it? Tell them also, if you have information, tell them what happened in India when they tried it in 2016. The economy suffered tremendously. For more than 2 years, they didn't recover from it. Nigerians should be told the whole truth. You can't just copy something from somewhere. You need to also copy, you need to also appreciate the pains, what goes with it. So that by the time you want to implement, you now take steps to ensure that that doesn't happen to our people here. But we've not done that. We just wanted to copy India. And at the end of the day, look at where we are now. Eggs on our faces. Emefiele has suddenly seen by many Nigerians as enemy number one.
Yeah.
And I know that there are some politicians who can walk through a thick throng of Nigerians. He's not one of those people who can walk through a thick throng of Nigerians. You won't.
Try
because people are angry.
You won't try
Now, the banks have been made to look like, oh, they are the ones who are hoarding. But the truth is, the banks do not have enough.
They don't have enough.
They can't be so stupid as to want to risk their own lives. If indeed they had enough. They don't have enough.
All right, we'll take this breather. When we come back, we'll talk more. It's still Journalist Hangout. It's 12 days to 2023 general election. We'll be right back after this time out.
Miss a moment. Instant breaking news from all over the globe. Live streaming of your favorite programs delivered directly to you. Watch anytime from anywhere on your mobile or smart devices. Download the TVC News app today. Available on Google Play and Apple Store.
Politics is defined as getting what, where, when, and how. But in the mix, many things come to play to shape the political fortune of any country.
Honorable Minister, that's how you misinform the public.
From the political actors to the electorate, campaign to voting, from debates to policy decisions, big events happen to engage us in constant conversation.
That's what we're looking for. Not some people who are talking about ethnicity. No. Who is on your mind? Don't worry.
Join me every day on Politics Tonight, where we dissect issues that shape our political destiny. Politics Tonight, weekdays on TVC News.
In the month of February, 4th of February is World Cancer Day. 6th of February is International Day of Zero Tolerance for Female Genital Mutilation, while 11th of February is dedicated to women and girls in science. On the 12th of February, it's International Day Against the Use of Child Soldiers, also known as Red Hand Day. On the 20th, it's World Day of Social Justice. By the 24th, it will be 1 year since the Russia-Ukraine war broke out. Stay tuned to TVC News as we bring you in-depth reports and analysis on these events.
There is always more to a story than the screaming headline. The part of a story that is not told casts a shadow. It's like the part of an object that is not reached by light. On TVC News, I'm able to explore the many angles there are to a story, talking to stakeholders, asking the difficult questions, and digging for facts. I believe the viewers are able to make a better decision if they're well informed and understand not just a part, but the complete story. TVC News, first with breaking news.
Journalist Hangout on Sunday. So finally, Jide, something should give. Wednesday, the Supreme Court will go into the substantial matter. Where what they had before, it was interlocutory injunction.
Yes, but there are fresh matters being brought on. So there are fresh matters being brought by new states.
So that means the status quo, by Wednesday we know.
The Supreme Court will also respond to the new cases coming from Niger, coming from Ondo. You know, because it's different. Those cases are different to what is file. And if the Supreme Court wants those cases to be consolidated, it's going to take that decision, that tell their lawyers to consolidate all of those cases so that it can then treat the substantive matter as one.
And they'll give accelerated hearing because the pains, we can't continue like this.
The truth is, where the interest of the ordinary people is concerned, the Supreme Court has an obligation to come in. And as I always say, it's a court of policy, not just the apex court of the land. It's a court of policy, which means that by itself, by its pronouncement, it can make law.
Law.
By its pronouncement, it can make law. So if those old men should not be swayed by what...
No, they've even cautioned those writers. Supreme Court wrote yesterday through its spokesperson that people should be careful about what they say.
And they were referring to the judgment Machina versus Ahmad and some other judgment that came recently. But where I'm going is where something directly affects the well-being of the ordinary Nigerian. The Supreme Court has an obligation to step in. And there is no act that can be greater than the Constitution. The CBN Act is not superior to the Constitution. That is a fact. Where there is contention between an act and the Constitution takes preeminence. That is what it is. Well, we are not lawyers, but we've been around long enough to know that this is it. So the Supreme Court has an obligation to stand on the side of the Nigerian people. Yes, this matter has been politicized and all that, but that's who we are, But no one can deny that our people are going through
the hardship,
extreme hardship at this time. No one can deny, from Sokoto to the border with Old Dahomey, people are going through extreme pain.
Wale?
Well, I think there are contentious issues. Like, reputable lawyers have said that even the decision of the CBN contravenes Section 148, subsection 2, which already the subsisting law says that individuals can take as much as 5 million, and corporate organizations can take as much as 10 million. If you don't amend that act of parliament, I don't think the CBN, by mere statement, can alter, what is in our constitution. And I think there is a growing impression, very popular impression, that, what is going on, that people now describe as a kind of CBN insurrection against the people, might affect the democratic process. And I think it will be a very bad legacy for the CBN current leadership under Governor Emefiele to give the impression that it does not support democratic governance. They should allow, because what people are saying, if you go out, they say, this man, they just want to bring, this into policy so that they will not allow the person that should win to win. They want to scuttle the will of the people. That is the general feeling, So it is counterproductive for them because those people that they want to stop are now having public sympathy.
Yes.
It's the same party that is now going to court. So people have now seen clearly that this is not really a party policy, because the same party are challenging, the decision of the CBN. So I think the CBN governor should bother about his name, especially after office. That is more important. And the president too.
Because they are taking this decision together. It's not CBN.
What legacy will the president leave behind, after 2 terms in office? What will people say about you?
I'm sure
the best thing people can say is that he conducted a free and fair election. If that does not happen, whatever achievement has had over the past 8 years will be rubbish.
And he cannot, we always tell the president to live on a high. That's best for him, to live on a high. And a president who has shown interest in the plight of the ordinary man, a president who came in and was paying pensions and all that, trying to solve the problems of poor people. Gave states bailout because he saw that those states were unable to pay. So in fact, the president once said that he wonders how governors who can't pay salary sleep. Now, I'd like to say, okay, this one is even worse than not paying salary.
I'm telling you.
Because people have money, but they can't even take it. Salaries are paid to public civil servants. There are millions and millions of Nigerians who do not work in the civil service, who do not earn salary.
And not
But
forgetting,
they are going through this.
Not forgetting that.
More Nigerians are going through pain now.
Honestly.
Than those who did not collect salary at that time. So the president must live up to his reputation as someone who does not like to see people suffer.
Who couldn't remove subsidy because he doesn't want people to
Yes,
suffer.
that's what it. And Governor Rufai said it, that he felt that this thing will inflict pain on the people. He was the only one who said, no, I will not remove it. If you did not want people to suffer, and because of that you didn't remove subsidy. This one now that has happened under your watch, because Emefiele takes instructions from you, he may have explained to you that it will work. He may have spoken flowery English to you in a way that will work. But before our eyes, we can see a crisis of implementation. We have seen incompetence, crass incompetence, demonstrated in its implementation. And you, as our president, you can see the pain that people are facing. Now it's time for the president to step in and say, look, my people have suffered enough, and I don't want this pain to continue. Whoever you want to catch with this, the majority of Nigerians are more important than that person. And seeing the majority of Nigerians in agony should make the president change his mind and say, because I'm not interested in seeing people suffer, this is my decision. Once the president takes that decision, whether Emefiele has autonomy or he does not have it, what the president wants takes preeminence. And those old men at the neck, I think what they said makes sense. They said, look, you have to increase supply.
Council of States.
Yes, increase supply of new notes. Otherwise, recirculate the old notes.
Side by side.
Yes. That's what they said. We cannot at this stage now say they didn't know what they were saying. That was good advice. That was good advice. Because they too also talked about the agony that people are facing. But a section of the media focused on the fact that, oh, they did not oppose the thing. Even me, I do not oppose it. It's the implementation that I have issues with.
And the deadline.
So that's not what we are saying. It's the indecent haste that we are opposed to. So coming out to say, oh, NEC supports this thing. How about that things that they said? They said that it was inflicting pain. They suggested that you should do this, you do that. Why are you not focusing on that? It's just unfortunate what we are going through as a country.
All right. Now to our new segments. Pundit's Corner, where we dissect the 2023 elections will be fought and won, how it will be fought and won. So we'll take this break. When we come back, we'll talk more.
Miss a moment. Instant breaking news from all over the globe. Live streaming of your favorite programs delivered directly to you. Watch anytime from anywhere on your mobile or smart devices. Download the TVC News app today. Available on Google Play and Apple Store.
Yes, welcome to the very first episode of our Pundit's Corner segment on Journalist Hangouts. This is where we analyze the shape that the 2023 elections battles will take place. Today, we are beaming our searchlights on Ogun State in the southwest and Borno State in the northeast. Babajide, we promised our viewers that we are going to go across the 36 states, what is going to happen all through the presidential election and the governorship election. So let's start from Borno State.
Okay. Borno State in the northeast of our country is one state that has always voted the APC. And there are many reasons to believe that the APC will win in Borno this time around. The candidate of the PDP, Muhammad Ali Jajore, is a young man from Abadam. which is the smallest local government in Borno State. Interestingly, Jajore comes from the same ward, the same polling unit with Kashim Shettima, the governor of the state. The NNPP...
Former governor.
Yes, and the former governor of the state. The NNPP candidate is a retired customs officer, Umar Al-Khali, is from Governor Shettima's local government, Maiduguri Metropolitan. This is the same local government where the Minister of State, Shehuri, Minister of State for Agriculture, Shehuri, comes from. Shehuri was member of House of Assembly, two-time member of the House of Reps, and was a Guba candidate of the CPC. He's been Minister of State for 8 years. So one thing that I've observed is that even in their polling unit, being that the PDP candidate as well as the NNPP candidate come from the same ward as the governor, as the former governor, Shettima, to even win their polling unit has become a problem. That has become a problem. The PDP used to do well in some parts of Borno South, like Chibok, like Hawul in Borno South, and Biu. But right now, Biu is locked down for the APC because Batara, who heads the Appropriation Committee, the National Assembly, is from Biu, and he has built more than 30 roads in Biu alone. He has become extremely popular in that place. So it's not looking really good for the PDP in Borno State. You can imagine contesting, coming from the same ward with somebody who was commissioner in 5 ministries. That was health, finance, local government, education. I was talking about Shettima, the vice presidential candidate of APC. Somebody who has been senator, who was governor for 8 years, now vice presidential candidate. And the candidate of the PDP is coming from his ward. To be able to even win his base has become impossible. And then the performance of Governor Umar Zulum is a factor. Many candidates even found it difficult to go and buy form because they knew this would be a waste of time. A lot of the PDP members resident in Borno State that should have entered the race did not bother themselves. It took someone resident outside of the state who had not been to the state for many years to come and join the race. It is very easy to predict that APC will be elected across all the elective positions in Borno State.
Starting from the presidential election.
National Assembly. Locked down for the APC. The National Assembly elections locked down for the APC. Of course.
The State House of Assembly.
The State House of Assembly. Because when you look the biggest local government in terms of voting strength is Shettima's local government. It's Shettima's local government. So with the quantum of votes available there, and next after Shettima's local government is Jere local government, where Honorable Satomi comes from. More than 1,000 polling units from Shettima's local government. You can be sure he knows where the votes are. The votes are in his local government, and he's going to do his best. Borno is so easy to predict. When you're talking about structures, they have 10 House of Reps members, they have 3 senators, They have the governor, they have the deputy governor, the deputy national chairman of APC. The structures are intact.
To show you how very complex this state is, when you see the number of people, as in the political enlightenment in Borno State, the number of people that did not collect their PVC is just 80,000, compared to, over 2 million registered voters. Now, when you look at the trend from 1999, is there going to be any different from what we are going to see in 2023 in Borno State?
I think there will have been a major difference if the leadership, if there has been some changes in terms of performance of those in government in Borno State, at least in the past 4 years. You see, something happened in 2019. Zulum won with 1,174,000 plus to defeat his rival, who won 66,000 plus. So you can imagine that difference. So I think
it's like a one-party state.
Yeah, so it's like
1 million.
Zulum, he was in charge of reconstruction in that sense, the commissioner. I think Zulum has been an iconic figure that people have been looking up to as somebody that they were praying that one day he will emerge as governor of Borno State. And I think it's a match. He has proved certain things. By restoring power to Bama, which was the hotbed of insurrection, and also the way he handled the COVID-19 pandemic. Then the child protection law was signed into law, and then the schools, and then a lot of people that have been convicted who are also in the terrorist, So I think that gives him a lot of potential to win second term. Now, if you also look at the fact that when the APC was conducting its primary, he was unopposed.
The presidential election?
Yes, in the primaries, the governorship primary, I think he won 1,411. All of them, not even one single person opposed him. So I think from what we are saying, PDP has not been able to build on any springboard to show strength
in Borno State.
That can conveniently, defeat Zulum.
Just keep it like that in Borno State. See what we've said in Borno State in 2 weeks' time. Come and cross-check. Now, we'll go to Ogun State. Complex situation in Ogun State.
Ogun State, in Ogun Central, there are a number of big politicians, beginning with Olusegun Oshoba, Ibikunle Amosun, Afolabi, Afoakpe, Shuaib Salisu, the former chief of staff, Ademola Aderin Okun of PDP, and Segun Sowunmi of PDP. Segun Sowunmi is the Amosun of the PDP because he's not going to support the candidate of his party. That is Ladi Adebutu. He's not going to support Ladi Adebutu, but he will support Atiku. He's going to work hard for Atiku. Amosun has a candidate that is come off from the ADC. From
From the ADC.
That's the candidate that he prefers.
Similar to what happened 4 years ago.
So now Ogun East has 9 local governments. And Ogun East has some of the most powerful politicians in the state, led by Otuba Gbenga Daniel. The interesting thing that I've seen is that, which appears to give the APC an edge in this election, is that all former governors of the state are all now in the same party. Even Baba Onabanjo, who is not alive, his daughter, Bukola Onabanjo, is also in the APC. All former deputy governors, beginning from Oshoba's era are all also now. Benga Kaka is in the APC. Daniel's deputy, Salmot Badru, is in the APC. Amoson's 2 deputies, Shegun Adeshegun and Yetunde Onanuga, they are also in the APC. The incumbent deputy governor, Noimat Salako Idele, also in the APC. The chairman of PDP during the Benga Daniels years, Jojufa Dairo, is also in the APC. Politics is is by nature. And when you go to West, Ogun West, the most dominant politician from that end is Olamilekan Yayi.
The same one from Lagos.
The people of Ogun West listen a lot to Yayi, and they see Yayi as likely to succeed the incumbent governor. So for that reason, even though Amoson has brought someone from the zone, they are more inclined to waiting for another 4 years, believing that now that they have a son who is influential, who has the money, who has the capacity, that could be their first opportunity to produce the governor of that state. Now, going to the east, which is the zone that has 9 local governments. We have people like Benga Daniel. The current governor is also from there. Benga Daniel is from Shagam. The current governor is from Ikene. All the big politicians, including Kaka and the rest of them, they are supporting the incumbent governor. I'm talking about Senator Kaka from Ijebu. You know, he's very effective as a politician in that area.
So, before we you know, the presidential election will come first, and there's a dynamic that some people like.
I'm going there.
Yes,
I'm going there
because the presidential election comes
first. The
first.
reason I start with the governorship is that it's like a base. Politics is like a base. Okay. If you do not have such people, there's no way the presidential race will not be affected by the internal dynamics of politics in a state. So with all these people that I talked about earlier, they are in the APC. Naturally, the APC candidate in the presidential election is the candidate to beat. I've had people, I think one of the opinion polls even said that Peter Obi will win Ogun State. Yes. They gave him 4 states from the southwest. That's the last one, I think by the next year or so. That is not going to happen. APC, with the powerful politicians that they have in their midst, with all former governors, now belonging to one party, all former deputy governors, that's looking back from since the 70s, all now in the same party. You can only point to an APC victory. We can only point to an APC victory in both the presidential and the governorship election.
That's the verdict.
Yes. APC will win both the presidential as well as the governorship
regardless of what Ibikula also is trying to wrestle 2 weeks after from the ADC, that Abiodun will still.
That is my projection. I just returned from Abeokuta this morning, you are aware. That is my projection. My projection is that Governor Abiodun will be re-elected, and the presidential candidate of the APC would win the presidential election in Ogun State.
Note it down. 2 weeks' time, we'll come and cross-check.
Well, I think something has always been playing itself out in Ogun State. Ogun Central and Ogun East have always produced the governor of the state for a very long time, I think since 1999. And there is a concern that Ogun West, which is Yewa, should be the turn of Yewa. But in terms of the dynamics of politics in Ogun State, in terms of, for instance, Yewa has just 4 local governments, In terms of population, in terms of registered voters, the 2 most dominant areas are Ogun Central and Ogun East. And just like Babajide has said, I think from my own reading, the strongest political parties in Ogun State seems to be APC and PDP. The PDP candidate has his own strength. I think the PDP candidate and the APC candidate are from the same Ogun East. And the deputy governorship candidate of PDP was also formerly
Akilade.
was the one supported by Amosu. Well, people are talking about the wealth of the Adebutu family and all that. But there's also a snag because the son that is contesting for election is the first, I can say it's a newcomer, in the politics of Ogun State. So I think with people like Kaka or Shoba, the former governor, Benga Daniel, I think, and also with the support of frontier states, of Lagos, of Oyo, of Lagos, of the APC in the Southwest, I think the current governor has a better chance to win, irrespective of what Senator Amosu is doing. The candidate he supported the last time, Akinlade, is now in PDP. He's no longer supporting him. He has raised up a new candidate.
That's the result of the 2019 election.
Yes, so I think in spite of, people are beginning to see Senator Amosu as somebody very difficult to please. He's a very difficult politician to satisfy.
But the caveat is that if he's supporting somebody from ADC, but he has made it clear that he's going to mobilize for Bola Tinubu.
That's a huge contradiction. The voters will begin to look at you with a kind of suspicion. What kind of politics is that? So I think that may not offer anything good for him in the politics of Ogun State. I see the current governor, irrespective of the fault lines, winning the election in Ogun State come 2 weeks' time, 3 weeks' time, when the election rules.
All right. So, Borno and Ogun State out. Tomorrow we'll continue. Today.
Yes, we'll continue. We'll only say what we can see.
Yep.
Not, we won't be influenced by sentiments.
No, from antecedents.
This is the truth.
And for some of those opinion polls that are based outside and they don't understand what is happening in the local scene. Wale Adeoye, I want to thank you.
Thank you.
And another one from BKO, the executive producer of Journalist Hangout on Sunday. Thank you, BKO.
Thank you.
You don't want to miss tomorrow's edition of Journalist Hangout, especially this Pundits Corner. And that's our offering today. Join us tomorrow at 5 p.m. You can watch the repeat broadcast tonight at 11:30 p.m. We're on YouTube, youtube.com/TVC News Nigeria. I'm Ayodele Zubaku. See you tomorrow by 5 p.m.
Hello, Nigerians. 2023 is an important year for us as a country. We need to make the year count for us as Nigerians. Let us think together and act collectively to make our country greater. Are you ready to make Nigeria greater? Then, let's deliberate. Attend the interactive session with the organized private sector OPS on Monday, 13th February 2023 at Lagos Oriental Hotel, Lekki Epe Expressway, Lagos. Time, 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. At this session will be Mr. Babajide Sanwo-Olu, Governor of Lagos State, Mr. Babatunde Raji Fashola, Honorable Minister of Works and Housing, former Deputy Governor of Lagos State, Princess Adejoke Orilope Adefulire, who is now the SSA to the President on Sustainable Development Goals, and Mr. Ben Akabweze, Director General, Budget Office of the Federation. Deliberations will be moderated by Mr. Tunde Lemo, Chairman, Titan Bank. Come, let's deliberate on our quest to move our dear state and country forward. With the rising of a greater Lagos comes a renewed hope on our horizon. Nigeria will succeed. Announcer Ayobeleyi for the organizing committee.
In the month of February, 4th of February is World Cancer Day. 6th of February is International Day of Zero Tolerance for Female Genital Mutilation, while 11th of February is dedicated to women and girls in science. On the 12th of February, it's International Day against the use of child soldiers, also known as Red Hand Day. On the 20th, it's World Day of Social Justice. By the 24th, it will be 1 year since the Russia-Ukraine war broke out. Stay tuned to TVC News as we bring you in-depth reports and analysis on these events.
There is always more to a story than the screaming headline. The part of a story that is not told casts a shadow. It's like the part of an object that is not reached by light. On TVC News, I'm able to explore the many angles there are to a story, talking to stakeholders, asking the difficult questions, and digging for facts. I believe the viewers are able to make a better decision if they're well informed and understand not just a part, but the complete story. TVC News, first with breaking news.
Information is power, information is security, information is knowledge. Unlabeled lens with